everybody. I'm an alcoholic with a Jennifer problem. And I'm short. So we have a special guest speaker for you tonight. He's come to share his experience, strength, and hope with you all. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he's got a really good message for you. And, you know, and I'll tell you, inside and outside of the walls of Evolutions, we always have each other, and that's why we have these meetings, to build the foundation and the support that we need to be able to stay clean and sober. With that being said, I want to give you all Joe Kane.
Thank you. Like she said, my name is Joe Kane, and I identify myself as an alcoholic.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
I'm really glad to be here tonight. Anytime that I can contribute to anybody else's rehabilitation, I automatically show up and do it whenever I'm asked. You guys should all be proud of yourself for taking that first step and taking a start at the rest of your life and getting into recovery. I start out with a little bit about myself. I'm from Upper Darby, PA. It's called Delco. It's about 5 minutes down the road from Philadelphia, like literally. Everybody else in my family, I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and the other 7 were born in Philly, and I was the only one born in the suburb, which is about a half a mile away, so I automatically had a chip on my shoulder right off the bat, because they thought they were tougher than me, and because they were from the city, and you know, they used to tease me about that stuff, tell me I was soft. And the plot thickened. I came from a great neighborhood, really. It was a tight-knit, blue-collar neighborhood, a lot of bars on every corner. You know, it was, one corner was Gamble's, the other one was the Waverly. They had football teams, basketball teams. Everything was structured around drinking from where I came from. So, you know, what did we do as kids? We drank. We hung in the park, we played sports, played football, we drank. You know, everybody was trying to outdo the other one. And it just rolled all the way through into high school. And so it was so socially acceptable in my neighborhood that, I mean, it went on and on even well after I had left that area. Like little kids that I remember being a lot younger than me, they're like going down to the same bars and everything where we went, where they would serve us underage. We had police officers own their own bars, and they would bust you if they caught you in the woods or on the street, but you could drink in the bar, you know. It's ridiculous. It's actually, I was actually an extra in a movie that was just made. It's called Crabs in a Bucket. It's going to be coming out, I guess, you know, got put on hold with this whole coronavirus and everything. So that should be coming out at the end of the summer. And it's about trying to get out of an area like that. You know, like this guy tries to better himself and become something different and aspire to be something bigger, but the neighborhood just keeps pulling him down. And that social structure keeps pulling him down, which I find today in my life, it's just the lie that we've been told. It's the whole lie that alcohol told us. It's the whole lie that middle class, you're never going to be any different. That way of life. And then they brainwash us into aspiring just to make it. That was never enough for me. I didn't want to just make it. So anything I did, I tried to do it to the best of my ability. The only problem is, I had no God in my life. I tried to push my way, pull my way, manipulate my way into getting things done the way I needed to have them done for me to have what I needed to have. And something inside me couldn't live with that. Something inside me, it caused so much turmoil in my life that the casual couple beers became an everyday thing, you know, drinking. Then I had to have a little motivation powder to keep drinking after like the 37 beers that I just slugged down, you know? And the story just kept unfolding. I was a regular at every bar in my neighborhood. Like I would start on the far end of town and make my way home. And it was like for hours on end, I'd be in each place. It's the only thing that could fill the void that was in me, I thought at that time, was alcohol. You know, that's like I said, I was the problem long before I picked up a drink. I realize that now. It was that self-loathing. You know, I'd sit here and tell you, you know, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of what you think. I'm not afraid of what you think. I don't care. That's such a lie. I cared about what everybody thought about me. I cared about what everybody's opinion was. I just carried that chip around to act like I didn't. I was so full of fear, you know, and it manifested itself as anger. You know, I walked around, I was quick to snap or quick to shout at somebody just so I would be left alone. It was like my defense mechanism. So the drinking got out of hand, to say the least, you know. I mean, DUIs, waking up in hospitals, not knowing how I got there, busted over the head with pipes, you name it. I'm sure your story is no different. You know, I did all of the same things to get what I needed to get where I needed to be. The long and short of it is, I couldn't take it anymore. And I had destroyed relationships, destroyed trust, destroyed everything that I touched, and just was in the real hurting people business. Actually, you know, everybody that I came in contact with experienced loss of some sort. No more, I mean, me much less. I experienced the most of it. You know, what I put my parents through. I had a little boy that I was raising that lived with me, and I was out, you know, I left him with my mom and dad, and just terrible shit that you think you can't get past. But I'm here to tell you this. The past is the past, it's over. You're never getting it back. If we were, I would buy a bunch of lottery tickets for, you know, tonight's number tomorrow, and then we could hit some money. There's no going backwards in time. You just have to move forward, let go of the past. The past will keep you down. That, oh, I did this, oh, I did that, that self-loathing behavior, it'll paralyze you. You know, I entered into a program, that's wrong. I actually cold turkeyed this for a minute. And it was so bad that my barber, who was in a fellowship, pulled over and was like, all right, man, you got to come with me, you know, I'm hearing all kinds, because I went from suicidal to homicidal by doing this by myself because of the games that my head played, you know, without me accepting a higher power and taking direction. I was trying to do this in spite of everybody. Like, I'm not going to drink because everybody thinks I'm going to drink. I could barely move in the morning. I had such anxiety. I had such self-loathing and beat myself up to stay sober. That didn't work. I had gone in and I went to meetings. I never worked a step. Not one single step. I stayed sober. To be honest with you, I didn't know that you weren't allowed to smoke weed and be sober. So I probably stayed abstinent from the drinking, and then I started smoking weed probably 2-3 years into it and stayed off the drink. One day it just hit me all over again. I had gotten successful. I was probably about 28 years old. I was a professional athlete at the time. I did amateur boxing since I was a little kid, and I got signed up with a promotion company and was fighting professionally. And I don't know if you know anything about boxing or one-on-one competitive sports, but drinking and drugging doesn't really help it, you know. It just tears you down, tears your body down. My dad always be like, you're burning the candle at both ends. You're burning the candle at both ends. I'm like, yeah, I got it. I got it all right. So, lo and behold, I went into being the overachiever that I was in business. I was in the union, in the Cement Masons Union, and I had started my own business out of Philadelphia. I had started buying properties, check cashing place, all the while I would swear I was doing everybody a favor. I was setting these people up to live good. I was in it for the money. I was in everything I did for the money and how I looked and how it made me feel, I walked around like I was the great I am, handing out turkeys like some kind of bubblegum bandit on Thanksgiving. I did it all. Everything but the pinky ring, I swear to God. After that all really sat really bad with me, the way I was living, the way I was treating people. We had our own little operation going there, and I couldn't stay out of the bar. I was like a stool, and it didn't affect me right away, I was there for hours, Lo and behold, it ended up being where I swore to God every day that I wasn't going to the bar. And I was there every day. There was nothing I could do to stop it. It had gotten to that point where it was just a runaway train, just about ready to wreck off the rails. So, I knew there was a safe place to go, because I even manipulated the different 12-step programs. I would go in for a rest. I knew I was banged up enough that if I went in for like a 30-day rest, I would be rejuvenated, and I'd be able to get it back out there and hit the road again, and I'd get that rest. I had no moral compass of what this was about, or the fact that maybe I could get in here and help somebody else, I was here to take. I was here to take from the world. I don't know if it was because I was the youngest of 8 and they were always giving me shit to shut me up, but I just became a taker, and I took from everybody. So I get back into the program, and something was different this time. This is 10 years later probably from the first time I had ever gone in. Something this time clicked, and I was only staying for 30 this time. That was 11 years ago and some change. I don't know the fact because, true story unknown. I know I stopped somewhere along the lines of St. Patrick's Day 11 years ago, but my son had to go out and cop tranquilizers to keep me from going into some kind of fit, and because I was so anxious. Anyway, I got around recovery again. I used the word around because I never got in it. This time I was a little half in it. I picked this guy Vinny I knew to sponsor me because I knew him. I knew his older brother. I knew him from the gym. I knew I could get over on him. I knew he wasn't going to break my stones when I didn't show up. I knew he wasn't going to make me accountable. I knew I was, once again, I was there for the quick and easy route. And I paid the price. I didn't relapse. I didn't pick up a drink or a drug, but I started doing the same behaviors. I might as well have. Nothing changed. I was just a sober asshole instead of a drunken one. Through all this, I kept trying different facets of groups to belong to. And I kept saying, man, I didn't get anything from that. Every time I went to a meeting, I didn't get anything. I got nothing. And then I had a revelation. I never tried to give anything. I never set up a chair. I never took a chair down. I never made a pot of coffee. I still never made a pot of coffee, by the way, except at home. But I'm saying, I contribute to the groups that I'm in now. I would clean up after this time. I would get involved. I would speak when somebody asked me to speak. And something in me changed. I started going through that slow process, because I'm a stubborn Irish bastard, and it takes me a while. I can take a beating like a champ, and I'm not proud of it. So, turns out my son, who lived with me through all of this, gets a taste for this. Go figure. What a surprise, right? Same neighborhood, same area, same father's name, the whole bit. And I thought I was going to cure him. I was going to be able to just say, yo, cuz, you can't do this, you know? All right, smoke a little pot, I'd say. That's all right. Don't worry about that. Next thing you know, he's eating Xanny, you know, they're running the gamut in the neighborhood. And I'm going to beat it out of him. I'm going to threaten it out of him. I'm going to start driving, slamming the brakes on, screaming, acting like a complete maniac, by the way. I cut him off. I stopped talking to him. The only parent he really had a connection with, there was problems with his mother, which I contributed to greatly, and later had apologized to her for that. He gets in this program. I'm bringing him to, there's a town called Chester. It's right outside of Philadelphia, like on the other side of the airport. It's the Philadelphia airport, and then there's Chester. The police don't even want to go to Chester. It's a bad area. Martial law every summer. It's rough down there. He goes into the depths of Chester, into a rehab, and I'm bringing him in. Now this is my boy, you know? And I know that I'm responsible for the way that this kid turned out, by the way. And I'm all teary-eyed, and, you know, I sat, we were on this porch. It was like this old Victorian castle. It was a beautiful place. I walk him out there, and I said to him, listen, I hugged him, told him I loved him. I said, this takes a lot of guts to do what you're about to do. You know, I can't imagine how you feel, you know. And then, boom, I whipped my neck around because I know him so well and I know myself somewhere. And I said, don't you show up at my house tonight telling me they don't have Heinz ketchup or Breyer's ice cream, because he'll make any excuse to get out of there. Once again, I'm already writing the story of what's going to happen. I'm forecasting the future. How the hell do I know what's going to happen? What is that in us that makes us be able to think we can predict the next 3 moves of the next person or loved one, or work, you know, how work's going to go, or, you know, it's something insane. It's actually insane to do. He goes in, now I'm sweating when he gets out. I'm thinking, he can't come back and live at my mom's. He walked all over everybody, you know, and he's got to go to a halfway house, and I don't know how to tell him. He gets out and already was signed up for one. Goes up the Northeast. I'm 45 years at this time in I would still say hovering around the program. He goes in. I see this change in him like I never saw a change in a human being. He was dead, as I was dead. You know, you get all that, you hear all this stuff that you start thinking is nonsense in here, all the little sayings, you know, jails, institutions, and death. We've all seen them all, including the death of our spirit. Well, I saw this kid reawakened, and he's walking around, you know, little pep in his step, and I'm still walking around like, you know, jumping out of my car at people that are beeping at me, or running red lights, or doing whatever. I was off my rocker. Turns around, he says, I did these steps. I went through this process, which I had never been through. Not honestly, you know, because I was constitutionally incapable of telling the truth. Telling, and swore I would pass a lie detector test under questioning. You know, like, that's how messed up I was. I was down so long, I thought I was up. And to see this change in him blew me away. He gets me hooked up with a guy who is now my sponsor. I had worked with him in the Plasterers Union 25 years prior. He was like a dribbling, drooling vegetable. He couldn't last 2 hours on the job without getting kicked off. Couldn't do nothing. The guy saved my life. The guy completely saved my life. Ironically, my son saved my life. That baby that I brought into this world at 18 had the problem that I had and put me back on the path that I needed to be on. How ironic is that? You can't make shit up like that. And he's doing well today. He has 7 years, or 6 years sober, 2 beautiful baby boys, and he lets go. The part that I want to tell you, the most important, you don't need to go through any part of your recovery like I did, walking around like a clenched fist, walking around disgruntled, hateful, thinking everybody's lying, judging everybody, blaming everybody. Blame has no part in my life today. I did these steps with the help of a man who went through the same process as me. And I hate to tell you, he was a bigger dirtbag than me on the street too, so I respected the change that he had had. Like, I saw him. I saw what he did. I knew what he was up to. No one on the face of this earth could make a change like that without a conscious contact with a higher power, which I call God. Whatever you choose to call it, call it. God could stand for good, orderly direction, if that helps you. A lot of people are afraid of God or a higher power. They don't feel worthy of it. We did some dirty shit out there, There's no need to live in it anymore. It's over. You did it. It's over. It's done. I'm sure you have repercussions. I'm sure you have apologies to make to people. And that's going to free you. Even the biggest fear about maybe you got to go back to your home area and do a couple months in jail. I don't know. But I know of other people that have been in situations like that. It's never as bad as you think it is. And that situation is going to turn and change your direction into another situation. It all happens for you, not to you. There's no need to be feared up anymore. You can let this go. You can look inside yourself, where I believe God lives. I believe His Spirit is in me. I believe He's always been in me. He was always that little thing in the back of my head telling me, this don't feel right. When you do this. And then I'm like, yo, I'm Joe Kane over here. I got this covered. Sure as shit, Joe Kane got it covered all right. In a whole mess. And it's every time. Like, I'm the guy walking around, there's wet paint signs all over the place. I got brown hands from touching the wall. Don't ask me why I'm wired like that. I just am. All of us are wired a little differently than the norm. But look at it as a point where it's a better kind of different. Look at the kind of things that you went through to get what you needed to get. Take that drive, take that determination and put it into your recovery. You would have ran through the worst neighborhood on horseback if you had to. Probably a police horse. What I'm saying is this. You've all been down. You've all been down for a long time. You've been lying to yourself for a long time. It's time to come home to yourself, to your inner being, to that thing that told you you need what you need. That hidden voice. You knew what you were doing was wrong. That's why you did it. They had to do it. Something else needs to fill that void in your life. Let it be your recovery. You're going to make your apologies. A lot of people, I can't stress enough that you need to get with with a mentor or a sponsor or whatever you guys call it down here. A no-nonsense sponsor. Someone that's going to not take your bullshit. Somebody that's going to look you in the eye and say, where was your part in it? Damn, that's a tough pill to swallow. Because I could get a list of resentments on every single one of you people in here like that. You know what I mean? Where is my part? That was so freeing. When I found my part, like I had a friggin' yellow page book of resentments, you know? I resented every teacher I ever had. I resented this, I resented that. That was no problem. Now write where you were afraid and where you were this. I was like, oh my God, I have a part in this? The worst thing that ever happened to me. I swore to God I wouldn't have a single speck in this situation. And I did. And I was wrong. And I owe an apology for it. Or an amends. Or, you know, let's not forget, I'm not giving up any cold case files either. There's some amends that just ain't gonna make it. But my amends for that is gonna be, I'm never gonna live that way of life again. And I'm gonna help the fellow suffering addict, alcoholic, whatever it may be. Somebody that's just down in their mindset. And I can give them a ray of hope. Because it is not going to be like this forever, I promise you, if you take these classes. I mean, classes, don't take them classes. We have resentments against classes too. But if you take these steps with somebody that knows what they're doing, if you relieve yourself of that ego and you seek your higher power, call it whatever you need to call it. I call mine God. But I sought God, you know. I tried this a different way this time. My life has turned around like I can't explain to you. And through it all, I've experienced loss. Loss like you wouldn't believe. Loss that would have made me drive my car through a house years ago. You can see I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, right? Still the youngest. I still got to hear about the bullshit from my brothers and sisters. I got married again in the program. You know, I thought, yeah, this is cool. Everybody's going to know I got it now. I'm going to appear to be sane. I'm going to appear to be okay. They won't have to worry about me and call me every 5 minutes to make sure that I'm all right and I'm around. And, you know, I married somebody that wasn't so stable, you know, and I knew her from the neighborhood. If I'm honest 100%, I knew we were going to get along. I knew it was an easy mark. I wasn't going to have to worry. It was going to be no courtship. You know what I mean? I got to be honest. That's my part in it. Her mind wasn't as stable as, you know, you thought, but I'm the great Joe Kane, and that's never going to happen to me. She's going to see that, you know, I'm a provider, and I'm this, and I'm that. I'm going to take care of it. Well, it didn't work out that way. And I haven't seen my children in a long time. And she's been under investigation. And guess what my part in it is today? Nothing. Because anytime I get involved in something, it becomes a shit show. I gave it over. I gave up my will. And that has freed me. And I've been able to prosper. And I just keep the mindset like it's on its way. Everything you want is on its way. As long as you make that commitment to yourself, to your inner being, higher power, whichever you may say, and just keep it moving and say it's on its way and work this program and get with somebody that's going to make you accountable.